Perkins quote tweeted the same tweet from Lane Kiffin and said, "That was not the message you said in the meeting room. Everybody that was in there can vouch on this." Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope I'll be having a great Wednesday night. Hope I'll be having a great week. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, I thought all this Lane Kiffin news and drama going on, it was starting to wind down. But just when you think it's winding down, this happens. What is this I'm referring to? That's a great question, Timothy and Bobby. I would love to answer it. More of his former players are calling him out. Now, some people would say this is a bad look for Lane Kiffin, and I don't blame them. But to be honest, at this point in time, and this is just the way Kiffin is, it's the vibes he gives off to me, I don't even think he cares. What I'm about to say next is not any brand new information or knowledge. Lane Kiffin, he likes being the villain. Even with his former players calling him out, I think he's going to hold that against him and he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. We're going to talk all about that, but we also got to talk about Ole Miss just rehired their old offensive coordinator. If it sounds like I'm confused, it's because I am. Well, I say rehired. Technically, he didn't take another job, but why all this is so weird is because he was on the plane to Baton Rouge with Lane Kiffin. Reminder, Ole Miss told Lane Kiffin, if you leave, you can't coach in the playoffs, but now they're letting this offensive coordinator come back, even though he went on the plane with them. What's going on? Come to find out, it's looking like it has a little bit to do with the playoffs, as most of you know, or you should know if you're not living under a rock. We are on the push. We are on the grind for 400,000 subscribers before the new year. We're getting closer by the day. I update the count for you guys in every single video, so if you're new to the channel, or maybe if you've been watching and not subscribed, I'm telling you, there's a bunch of you watching, you're simply not subscribed. Consider subscribing. It's 100% free. It doesn't hurt you, and it benefits the entire community. It's a win-win. Help us get a little bit closer of achieving our goal. Don't be a Grinch during the holiday season. And let me check on the community tab real quick. We just started this today. It's easy to find on the channel. It's where you guys can interact with me, and you can talk amongst yourself about football or whatever you want to. But I'll read a couple of comments off. First one I see, "Hey Mart, will you coach Penn State?" Why is that your username? Match yellow teeth. So now I got yellow teeth. All right, buddy. Is that what we're doing? Seriously, is that what we're doing? Miguel said, "Love the community. This is where I get my college football info at." Well, appreciate that, man. Thanks for being a part of it. You see, that's why I like to see a nice... Wait, whoa. What is this? Yo, so this is just not me, and this picture just never happened. What is this? How did you even make this? Is this the White Randy picture? And who is this standing next to me? All right, bro. So now I'm Gru from Despicable Me. Get out of here. You know what? No. We're done. We're getting to the video. Straight into it. So this takes place actually a few days ago. Before we get into the whole offensive coordinator stuff, let's talk about these players calling out, dissing, throwing some shade at Kiffin, whatever you want to call it. Caleb Odom. This was right after... what's his name? Why am I drawing a blank? Oh, yeah. Lane Kiffin announced that he's leaving Ole Miss. He's going to LSU. He stated that Kiffin, he didn't address the team. He didn't say goodbye, all that stuff, and he left. Me personally, does that rub me the wrong way? Not so much, because I talked about it with Kalen DeBoer. You had Washington players tweeting out, well, Kalen DeBoer, he didn't even say goodbye to us. He just up and left. Same thing with Kiffin. This is my perspective on it. These coaches are in a time crunch. They got to let the AD know, hey, I'm leaving now. And once they leave, the school doesn't want anything to do with them. So they just tell them to get out of here ASAP. Okay, I may have exaggerated that a little bit. They're nicer about it, but you get the point. It's not like Kiffin was hanging around for 2 to 3 weeks and didn't say goodbye to the team. It was like, okay, I'm leaving, and he's gone that night. And it's a business decision. I don't think it's anything personal. But more of the story is, no matter how you feel about it, Caleb Odom, he called him out, the former transfer from Alabama. Why all that's ironic is because Caleb Odom, he left Alabama, and I can assure you, when he entered the transfer portal, he didn't tell Kalen DeBoer goodbye. He didn't tell his teammates goodbye, but I digress. Well, now guess what happened? You had not one, but multiple players come out within the last 24 hours, quote tweet Lane Kiffin's goodbye tweet and say stuff like this. This is from Bryson Sanders, current Ole Miss player, offensive lineman too, just to give you some more context. He quoted it stating, "Despite the team asking me to keep coaching." He responded, "I think everyone that was in that room would disagree." Sanders, what are you trying to say? Because to me, it looks like you were insinuating that the team did not ask Lane Kiffin to keep coaching the team throughout the playoffs. Am I reading this wrong? Maybe I am, but that's how it looks to me. Another offensive lineman for Ole Miss, Jaden Williams, quote tweeted that and said, "Let them know. Every single person." Perkins quote tweeted the same tweet from Lane Kiffin and said, "That was not the message you said in the meeting room. Everybody that was in there can vouch on this." This has went mega viral within the past day or so. It's got over, wow, this one has 8 million views. That is a ton of views on a college football post on Twitter. You don't got to be the sharpest tool in the shed to figure out they are stating that Lane Kiffin, he's lying in his message you're looking at right here. Am I shocked about this? No, absolutely not. Do I believe the players? Yes, 110%. I mean, guys, come on. As much as I love Lane Kiffin, and as good as a coach I think he is, and he's getting better and better and better by the week, by the year, I wouldn't put it past him to lie in a Twitter post. Would you? Let me know in the comment section. It's Lane Kiffin. Nobody cares about their public image more in the college football coaching industry than, guess who? Lane Kiffin. I mean this with all due respect. You know what he acts like? A high school girl. He loves attention. He craves it. He can't get enough of it. And he is always going to try to make himself look great in any and every situation, even if he is the bad guy. And that's why I really don't like calling him a villain, because he's a phony villain. He don't actually like being hated. He just acts like it, if that makes sense. Real villains enjoy the hate. They relish it. Kiffin's more of an internet troll, and he likes getting under people's skin. At the same time, he wants to be liked. It's a weird dynamic. He's an interesting cat when you break it down, but we already know this. Getting back to the focal point, yeah, you got multiple players calling him out saying, nah, that's not the message you said in the meeting room, and no, we didn't really care for you to stay and be the head coach throughout the playoffs. Like they say, there's two sides to every story. If I had to give you my best educated guess, it's just purely a guess. Who do I think's in the right here? Who do I believe? It's definitely got to be the players. Here's where things get a little wishy-washy, because these players, they haven't said anything past the messages I've showed you up until this point. They haven't actually said what really went down. And I'm not even going to try to sit up here and try to speculate what went down in that locker room, because that's not what I do. I like to present y'all with facts, information, and then give you my 2 cents on it. Well, this is all we got. Here's the last thing I'm going to say about this, and we'll get a move on. Kiffin isn't historically known for being, quote-unquote, good at, ironically enough, goodbyes. I knew eventually one day down the road he would leave Ole Miss because there's better jobs out there. No disrespect to Ole Miss fans, that's just reality. So if he were to leave to take, in this case an example, an LSU job or the Bama job, that's the job he really wants, whenever he did leave, it wasn't going to be pretty. Do you remember what happened at Tennessee? He's just bad at these things. An ace is an ace, a spade is a spade. Let's call it for what it is. And I'm not shocked about any of this information coming out. But here's what did shock me, and it threw me for a loop. So the breaking news came out yesterday, and I was like, whoa. Hold up, Timothy and Bobby, when I got the update. What? I had to do a double take. You ever see something on your phone, you glance at it and look away, and then you're like, wait a minute, what did I just look at? I did the same thing here. I'm going to read this off word for word so there's not any confusion, and I'll go over it a couple times because it can be confusing. Breaking. Charlie Weis is returning to Ole Miss as offensive coordinator to coach the playoffs, the school announced. Weis boarded a plane to Baton Rouge with Lane Kiffin on Sunday. Read it and weep. I'll leave it up on the screen so you can continue to read it. The guy who flew on the plane with Kiffin to Baton Rouge, Louisiana for the press conference is being brought back to Ole Miss to coach in the playoffs. Yeah, if you were keeping up with this situation as closely as we're on the channel, you would know how strange this is, because Ole Miss was very adamant on, no, Kiffin, if you leave our program, you cannot just accept a job at LSU and coach the remainder of the year at Ole Miss. You can't do that. That ain't going to fly. Do I blame Ole Miss for doing that? Absolutely not. For obvious reasons, we've already talked about that plenty enough. You got a lot of people saying stuff like this. Fair arguments. So Lane Kiffin could not coach the team in the playoffs because he took another job, but the offensive coordinator followed him and took the LSU job, but he can go back and coach the offense in the playoffs? Laughable. And that got over 1,000 likes. I get why some people may be upset about this, but I understand it from Ole Miss's perspective. It's not that Lane Kiffin left, it's how he left, how he went about all of this. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. You also don't want a head coach that is now going to be coaching a rival in the same conference as you, sticking around as a head coach for signing day and poaching recruits that are supposed to be coming to Ole Miss to go to LSU, because that's what would be happening. I try my best to dumb these situations down. I can't think of another way to dumb it down more than what I have up until this point. It just wouldn't make any sense to have Lane Kiffin, the new head coach at LSU, remaining as your head coach at Ole Miss. Offensive coordinator, a little different situation and a different scenario. But there's more to this. Here's what Lane Kiffin had to say about all of it, and I quote, "With the playoff committee releasing updated rankings tonight, I wanted it to be known that after a conversation with LSU, we are allowing Charlie to return to Ole Miss to coach the team during the playoffs. I've already made the committee aware of this, and I'm hopeful this decision will allow Ole Miss to receive the highest ranking possible because these great players are very deserving of that. I'm excited that Charlie will be back to help coach the greatest team in the history of Ole Miss. There you have it, very mature words from the lane-trained Kiffinator himself. Let me know, what do y'all think about that? Low-key a classy move by the Kiffinator, because Kiffin easily could have been pissed off about how they wouldn't let him be the head coach and said, nah, guess what? I'm taking my offensive coordinator with me, and he's not going to help you in the playoffs. He could have done that, and I wouldn't have blamed the guy. But as bad as this thing ended at Ole Miss, he does have a soft spot. I'm not going to say for Ole Miss, but for this team. So good on Kiffin. As far as it goes for Ole Miss in the playoffs, I don't want to say it's not looking good for you. I think you're going to be A-okay. You do got Pete Golden run the show. That's a different video for a different day. Don't even get me started on him. Not a Pete Golden fan. I was beyond happy when he left Alabama. I was like, please take him. And what was so crazy is Ole Miss fans like, oh, we stole him from you. Sure, I guess, but he was awful at Alabama. Not a Pete Golden fan. I don't know what people see in him. He's just bad at his job. He's not a good defensive coordinator. I tell you what, I don't know who they're going to play, but everybody and their mom is going to be tuned into the Ole Miss football game, and I can't speak for you, but I'm definitely rooting for them. It's like they're an underdog now. Many more things I could say. We'll end it off here. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts on us down below. But